Charlie, President Obama was briefed on the Sotloff video before leaving Washington. The White House has feared for Sotloff's safety since the ISIS video of James Foley's execution first surfaced 2 weeks ago. The second murder of an American intensifies pressure on the president to develop a military strategy against ISIS in Syria, its base of operations. Last week, the president admitted he was still searching for that strategy and weighing whether or not to launch airstrikes on ISIS targets inside Syria. But Syria is not on the agenda here in Estonia. Later this week in Wales, the president will seek help from NATO allies to battle the terror group. The intelligence community is working to authenticate the Sotloff video, but Charlie, officials here tell us they have no reason to doubt that it's real, calling it another sickening act of terrorist brutality.
Message to America.
If the video is genuine, we are sickened by this brutal act.
New video appears to show journalist Steven Sotloff murdered by Islamic militants just weeks after the killing of James Foley.
And now, another life is on the line. CBS 2 News at 5 starts right now.
Tonight, a new video appears to show the execution of a second American journalist, and it now raises the stakes in the battle against the Muslim extremist group ISIS. CBS 2's Ken Schockneck is live at the Satellite Center where he is monitoring the situation. Ken.
Paul, right at this hour, the Obama administration is working to authenticate this latest video that shows the apparent beheading. Last month, ISIS terrorists promised to kill Steven Sotloff in the video that showed the actual beheading of James Foley. Today, it appears they've made good on that threat. The new video from the Islamic militant group ISIS is called A Second Message to America. It shows the apparent beheading of American journalist Steven Sotloff. The U.S. intelligence community is working to confirm its authenticity.
If the video is genuine, we are sickened by this brutal act taking the life of another innocent American citizen.
Sotloff disappeared in Syria in August of last year. His life was threatened in the video ISIS released last month showing the execution of American journalist James Foley. Sotloff's mother responded with her own video, pleading for her son's release.
I want what every mother wants, to live to see her children's children.
The Sunni militant group says it's acting in response to U.S. airstrikes on ISIS fighters in Iraq. President Obama heads to a NATO summit later this week where he'll work to enlist more international support for pushing back ISIS in Iraq and possibly targeting the group's stronghold in Syria.
The president has been working closely with his team to review military options for taking the fight to ISIL in Syria.
The masked man in this latest video warns other countries against joining U.S. airstrikes.
Back off and leave our people alone.
He speaks with a British accent, like Foley's executioner, then threatens the life of another hostage ISIS identifies as a British man named David Cawthorne Haynes. Reaction to the apparent beheading here in Southern California has been swift. Later tonight, the LA Council on American Islamic Relations is going to meet with the Muslim community to denounce the apparent killing today of Steven Sotloff overseas. We'll continue to monitor the situation live in the Satellite Center. I'm Ken Schockneck, CBS 2 News. Pat, Paul, back to you.
Thank you, Ken. Family and friends are paying respects at the Sotloff family home. Cameras are outside the house in Pinecrest, Florida, where people have been spotted coming and going. Police are also in place. A spokesperson says the family is aware of the tragedy and grieving privately. And here is some background information on the 31-year-old journalist. Sotloff worked for both Time and Foreign Policy magazines. Many of his articles focused on the ordinary people living through war. He is reported from Syria, Egypt, and Libya. Sotloff grew up in the Miami area and spent 2 years majoring in journalism at the University of Central Florida. The school says it has no record of his graduation. Be sure to stay with CBS 2 News for the very latest. We will have an in-depth look at today's tragic developments ahead at 6:30 with Charlie Rose on the CBS TV.
Has made it clear the horror may not stop with Sotloff's murder. On the tape, the masked executioner presents a British hostage identified as David Cawthorne Haynes and suggests his life now depends on the actions of the U.S. and British governments. Now, some U.S. officials suspect Sotloff may actually have been killed several days ago. And while intelligence analysts are still tonight studying the video, the executioner appears to be the same man shown in the Foley tape. He's believed to be Charlie, a radical who left Great Britain for the ranks of ISIS.
Bob Orr in Washington. Thanks. The Sotloff video was released shortly before President Obama left Washington for a NATO summit in Wales. It is about, among other things, the crisis in Ukraine. The president will be stopping first in the former Soviet Republic of Estonia. Chief White House correspondent Major Garrett is there. Major.